Welcome, Mark, to episode 295. Can you believe we're closing in on 300? Holy shit, that's too many episodes.
That's insane. Are we going to do anything for 300?
I was thinking about it, and I don't even know what we would do. What could we possibly throw together last minute to make a big deal out of something that nobody really cares about?
Well, we're going to Fan Expo Chicago. I don't know if that lines up with the
Right.
300th episode.
It's funny how that worked out, isn't it?
I think it might be the same week that we do our 300th. So, listeners, we're going to be at Fan Expo Chicago on what is it, July 9th?
Man, now I need to double check the calendar because we just agreed to these dates. This will be July 9th, Saturday, July 9th in Rosemont. Yep. So just outside Chicago, it is the Chicago Fan Expo convention. And they emailed us and said, hey, you want to come do this? And we were like, all right, fuck yeah. So we'll be there.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Yeah, we more details to come, obviously, but I just sent the email off right before we went live right now. So apparently they have never seen our show. Otherwise, they wouldn't have invited us. But that'll be fun. I mean,
yeah,
our good friend Chuck is kind of running media for them, which is really exciting. And he will we'll make him come on and do something with us because we always do. But shout out to Chuck. He's like touring the country now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of wild.
The Fan Expo is, I don't know if I'll call it blowing up or if I just didn't notice it as much like these last few years, but I'm seeing Fan Expo everywhere. They did Fan Expo Philadelphia a little while back. They're doing Dallas, I believe, in a few weeks. Chicago's getting one. I know Wizard World was acquired or merged with Fan Expo or whatever you want to call it, but at the same time, yeah, it seems like Fan Expo is really starting to take off this year.
I have a real problem. I'm going to keep calling it Wizard World, and I need to stop that. It's like the San Diego Chargers. They're still the San Diego Chargers.
Were they just absorbed Wizard World?
I believe they bought like their IP and stuff. I don't know what that includes. I'm not even going to try to speculate, but I never realized until we got into this what I struggle to say money-driven business, but obviously that's what it is. That's what every business is. It's just interesting to see what goes into that and just on what scale. Some of the conventions that we were doing through Ace, I mean, we knew that they were paying their talent, quote unquote, $1 million just to show. And then Ace would just like get it back through selling tickets and getting photo ops and everything like that. And that's just wild to me that they're probably tens of millions of dollars involved in each one of these.
Yeah, it's insane. Is Ace even around? I haven't seen an Ace Chicago marketing promo or anything in the last while.
I don't want to say yes or no because it's been really hard to track. Obviously, it was really hard to get through the pandemic and everything for a lot of these in-person events, which, we'll see how things are in July. Not looking great in Chicago right now, but what else is new? So, yeah, but we will be there and it'll be really exciting. But, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can record it this time because last time we fucking had the ultimate fail of thinking that our iPhone was recording the audio, and it was not by any means.
That and video, and honestly, like the fact that it was the end of the night Friday and everybody else was already gone out of the convention, like everybody's clearing out, and we're thinking like this was a good time to do it. No, It was completely dead and boring and stupid. So I like to pretend that some of our worst episodes just never happened, especially that one since nobody else ever saw it. Mark, I'd be remiss if I didn't check in on your wife and new baby.
Yeah, Emmett's been great. Nolan's been being a very good big brother as well. Shout out to Nolan. He's nine-eyeing right now. He's asleep. It was weird though. So the people were telling me like you better be careful with not be careful with Nolan, but just be aware that Nolan may get upset or get really jealous or whatever. He didn't get really any of those things. But what happened was he was like the first couple of days that Emmett came home, he was really hard to put down to sleep. Like this guy, you put him down in his crib and he's out. He's like, all right, peace. Like he'll be awake. He'll just walk out his room and he's good with it. 3 days after, like the first 3 days after Emmett came home, he was, I feel like he had FOMO, like he was missing out on something because grandparents were over and things like that. But he just kept standing up, screaming for us. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But other than that, he's back to his normal self. Emmett is a great baby. He's been giving Kelly like 3 to 4 hour spurts, and she's got to wake up anyways to breastfeed him and stuff like that. But he hasn't really been making a peep at all. And that could change. That can change at any moment.
It will.
But as of right now, things are going pretty well.
Then it'll get better, and then it'll get a billion times worse, and then it'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Max had his first few nights in a big boy bed because we didn't really have an option other than that. He literally learned how to crawl over and out of the collapsible one that we have, so we're screwed. And so we had to get like a cage thing that you put on a bed and sandwich it up against a wall so he couldn't get out. And I guess that was basically just like having a gigantic crib.
Wait, so you actually caged him in?
What else am I gonna do?
Like over the top of him there was a cage?
No, it was like 4 feet high.
Oh, okay.
The kid is a savage. I was like so hurt when you walked out of my house the other day and you came up to me and you were like, you have to lock everything in your house because there's like every cabinet, every drawer, every door, all of it is like double locked because my son is such a savage.
He just gets into everything.
I can't have nice things and whatever. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Mark, let's do some movie trailer stuff.
All right, let's do it.
To us. Boop.
All right, we're going to keep it short and sweet this week because it's been a long one and I have to start traveling again and I'm so tired. Mark, you begged and pleaded with me to discuss this live-action Pinochio that looks like, from this teaser trailer, a Saturday Night Live sketch, at least based on the costumes and Tom Hanks being in it. What are your thoughts here?
Well, we barely get to see Pinocchio until the very end. And we don't get to see him as a real boy either. So we're kind of gypped in this first trailer. But we do get creepy Tom Hanks in some really raggedy, creepy pajamas. And what else do we get here?
Real bad wig.
Yes. He has that stupid pajama hat that I have no idea why people even wear that. You know what? Dude, it's like when did people stop wearing that hat? And did people used to wear that hat a lot? Like, was this really a real thing, or did movies just keep using it and think that this is what they used to wear back then?
No, because when people used to have to sleep with a fire in their room, like by the end of the night or by morning, you'd get so cold and you'd be covered up to your, over your shoulders and stuff, but your head would be cold, obviously. So.
And you'd had polio and your life would just suck.
Yeah, and people are like, oh, man, I want to go back to the good old days. Like, no, man, you were shitting outside. That's a dumb idea. You don't want to go back to that. Stupid. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have cell phones. Dummy.
So in this trailer, too, we get the soundtrack. We get the Wish Upon a Star song, which I didn't even realize was originated from the Pinocchio movie. I thought it was just like Walt Disney's theme song.
I don't know. I didn't have thoughts on that.
And yeah, that's kind of all I took away from it. I don't know. What'd you think?
It seems unnecessarily creepy. Like Jiminy Cricket is creepy. He fights off a giant bird. I have a really hard time telling the scale of what Jiminy Cricket is on this. Because he seems like a giant cricket, but also that bird made him seem really tiny. So either that's a giant bird or I don't know. Maybe Jiminy Cricket is the new Hulk. They own the rights to all of it anyway, so.
If they own the rights to all of it, then why the fuck did we get a Pinocchio movie back in 2019? Like, was that Disney that released that? Do you remember that fucking movie?
I don't.
Maybe
Was this one of the stories that was released into the public domain and Disney was just like, we're done milking that cow for all it's worth?
It was a. Was this a foreign film? I don't think so. I think it was released in the US. But anyways, Pinocchio basically looked like an actual boy, but had a carved wooden face. Dude, speaking of creepy, this was the creepiest thing
That sounds like a
on
horror
the face
movie.
of this earth.
Yeah. I don't understand. So, first of all, this is coming on Disney Day, quote unquote, whenever that is. Disney Plus Day or whatever. It's their anniversary thing. I bet Tom Hanks is still really pissed that this is only going to streaming because he strikes me as that kind of dude.
What's that kind of dude?
Him, like Will Smith, Tom Cruise would like be the ones fighting, be like, no, this has to be in theaters. I never understood nor had sympathy for that, so he just strikes me as one of those like this needs to go back into theaters.
Like Tom Cruise would get up at an award show and punch Bill Burr in the face. Like, is that kind of how you see him?
I don't know. I think Tom
punch
Cruise would just send assassins.
Oh, I thought we were talking Tom Hanks. We're talking Tom Cruise.
Well, Tom Hanks would probably send assassins too. He's one of those Mr. Good guys that you know has skeletons in his closet. I mean, he's no Keanu Reeves.
He's also so I watched Top Gun for the first time before I went to see it last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've seen parts of it. It's one of those movies that was always on TV and I just never fully watched it through. It would be on TBS every once in a while.
How would you stop watching that movie?
Oh my God. I don't know. First of all, that he's 24 in that movie. I looked it up. He's really got a predominant middle tooth going on. Like he's kind of done some work to his teeth since then, so it's not as noticeable. But my God, in the original Top Gun, it is right there in front of your face.
Yeah. Especially like the remastered versions.
Yeah, in that time in the early 90s, nobody gave a shit about their unibrows, obviously, because he had a really bad unibrow, and I'm just like, oh, I want to pluck that shit so bad. Like that bothered me so much.
I think back then it was like, oh, don't groom yourself. You might look gay.
Yeah,
like that was probably the prevailing masculine thought at the time. So I'm not really surprised by that.
But let's all go to the beach and just play a shirtless game of beach volleyball.
Like very homoerotic sports together. Yes.
Yeah, just get oiled up.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what we were talking. Oh, Pinocchio. Somehow Pinocchio led us to homoeroticism in Top Gun, which I'm fine with. This looks horrifying, and I have nothing else to say about it.
Moving on.
Great. To a trailer that I'm actually pretty excited about, The Gray Man. I hope you watch this because this is definitely right up your alley.
Before we really dive into this one, in college, did people used to call others gray man because they used to wear like gray sweatpants with like a gray hoodie? Did you ever hear that phrase?
No.
Okay. Well, we used to call people Gary the Gray Man if they wore gray sweatpants with like a gray hoodie because they were just in all of that heather gray color.
What a hilarious story.
But listen, Ryan Gosling is wearing gray in one of these scenes. Like he's fully wearing gray. So I'm pumped they actually kept the reference in there.
Oh, you think this movie is based on your life?
I think the movie is actually based on being a gray man, a Gary Gray Man, meaning that you wear gray.
You are an extremely weird dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, I can't believe you've never heard that reference.
You know what? I almost divorced my wife last week because I've got a theory about people from the south side of Chicago. They have very different words and phrases that we have to describe normal things that they make up, and vice versa. Like we have normal colloquialisms that they don't. So what did you call it when you went to like Taco Bell and you mixed all of the different sodas together?
Oh, I didn't really have a name for that. I just did it.
You didn't call it a suicide?
When would you ever say that to somebody? Like I used to do that when I was 6, so I wouldn't like tell my friends like, "Hey, I'm gonna go mix all these together right now." I would just do it and get hopped up on sugar, and then
Dude, there
run
was a
back around
name
in Chuck
for
E.
it,
Cheese.
and it was called it was a suicide. It was just like you mixed a bunch of the sodas together, and that was what it was called.
I guess I was just way too cool to even have a name for it. I just did it. I did it. Could have
I
called.
mean, it's probably best that name kind of died off. No pun intended, but yeah, wow, maybe I'm the outlier in this scenario. Maybe I need to take a look in the mirror, Mark. What do you think?
What defines a suicide soda squeeze?
No, there's no squeeze. It's just the mixture of more than one type of soda. So you would get like Sprite.
More than one. So if I did two, I could be like, yo, it's a suicide. You for sure would be like, no, that's not a suicide. I
No,
feel like
I'd
you
be
got to
like,
do at least four.
I feel like if it's short enough to name, like there's two of them, like it's a Sprite and orange soda, you know?
That's a suicide?
But if it's no, that's a Sprite and
Oh.
orange soda. But I feel like if you add
Gotcha.
one more thing to that, like Sprite, orange soda, Mountain Dew, that's too much to name. Like that's a suicide. Anything beyond two is a suicide.
That is such a lame use of a suicide. That
Dude,
is like
I don't make the rules.
That would taste good. I feel like you have to incorporate Coke with some type of Sprite product, or
That's
it's not
fine.
a suicide.
The thing is, this was a forum to express your creativity, Mark.
The whole point of suicides is taking big risks. If you're mixing fucking Fresca with Mountain Dew and Sprite, that is not a fucking risk. That is
I
not a
didn't
risk.
say
You get-
Fresca and Sprite. Okay, those are too similar in flavor profile. I know what you mean. I understand. God, Mark, but we were making Code Red before there was Code Red, because you would have like cherry something and you would mix it with the Mountain Dew, and that's Code Red.
What was I? Code Red was actually pretty decent. What was I
Dude.
drinking? I was drinking Fanta pineapple almost every single day at the gas station.
Sounds horrible. That sounds so terrible.
Fanta pineapple, and then there was like a blue Mountain Dew. It wasn't Baja Blast.
Oh
What was
God.
It was
was
like a
blueberry
darker
flavor.
blue.
It was like a Halo
Yeah.
exclusive. That's disgusting.
That one was gross. The pineapple Fanta was fucking amazing, though.
No, they should have stopped after Code Red. Code Red could not be topped. Then they tried the orange one, and it wasn't as good. And there was like Surge. It just wasn't the same. Anyways, how did we end up here? The Gray Man, Mark. This is a movie about assassins. I don't remember how we got there, and I don't care.
Gary the Gray Man. That's what we were talking about, and then it led to.
I knew this was your fault somehow. Anyways, Ryan Gosling is CIA Black Ops mercenary because obviously Chris Evans is a former colleague who is also a mercenary who is, I guess, a gun for hire
Mm-hmm.
and has a team of killers. We've got Anna de Armas, a huge cast here. I
Yes.
mean,
Oh,
Billy
yes.
Bob Thornton, just ridiculous cast list here. And this is what looks to be a very big budget from every aspect movie from Netflix. So we've got the Russo brothers directing this. You would know them from the Captain America movies and a couple of Avengers movies. And they're obviously familiar with Chris Evans. So this seems like a layup for them. I don't know how Ryan Gosling got involved, but I'm kind of excited for that. And this just looks kind of like a banger. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling looks Riptotron. He is just absolutely shredded from the quick clip we get in this trailer. We get the ultimate henchman face from Callan Mulvey, who's the guy in he's in Batman versus Superman. He kind of has that lazy eye. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like slick back hair. That is just he's just the ultimate henchman.
Definitely.
He'll never have. It's upsetting because he'll never have a main role. He'll just always.
You
be
don't know that.
guy.
Maybe they'll do a biopic on like the life of a henchman. I'd watch that.
Okay, I would watch that too. It's like that one guy that was in Jiu-Jitsu. He's always ripped too. He was in Captain America Winter Soldier, I think. He was in the elevator fight scene.
Yep. I know exactly who you're talking about. Anyways, This movie looks incredible. Just looking at the Wikipedia, so take that for what it's worth. But they say $200 million production budget, which is pretty far up there, especially for Netflix.
Did we mention when this is releasing?
July 15th. So right in the heart of, they're going straight at the big blockbusters that release around that time. That's going to be Thor: Love and Thunder, What else is going to be out right around there? I mean, 4th of July is always a tent pole for the movie industry.
Let me just add July 15th for theaters, July 22nd for Netflix.
Oh, that's so lame. Yeah, we're definitely going to wait and watch that at home.
Yeah, this is a good one to wait for.
Yeah, Netflix hasn't shown me enough recently to make me want to go to movie theaters see something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of the last really good, and it's Extraction with Chris Evans. But I'm sure there's something else in there that I'm totally missing.
I kind of like the one with Ryan Reynolds. Kind of like that one that we just got.
Oh, the most recent one, the time traveling one.
Yeah, that one was okay. I don't know if I would have been happy leaving a theater and having to go see that, but
exactly. And yeah. I think a lot of that is, I think a lot of our expectations have been raised about what will actually get us into a movie theater. And we can argue later about maybe whether Top Gun will revitalize the box office, or if that's a one-off and one bad movie with a good showing on the first weekend is enough to kill it again.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Anything else?
No, I'm pumped for this cast, though. This is a stacked cast.
I just love Anna de Armas. She's so beautiful and great and talented. All right.
Very beautiful.
Moving on.
Here's some money. Go see a Star Wars.
Go see a Star Wars, Mark. Or maybe Obi-Wan. Have you started it yet?
I have. I am at the good episode from what I'm seeing online, episode 3, because I didn't think episode 1 and 2 were that great. They were way better than how Boba Fett started. I will mention that. But episode 3, I'm halfway through, and it's fucking awesome. I'll just leave it at that.
I didn't even know episode 3
or
was out
part
yet.
3, not episode 3. Part 3.
Whatever. I've only been through the first episode. It's about what I expected so far. I'm really trying to understand, and I haven't sat down and read an article. Why is everyone mad that they cast a black woman? Is it like, are they mad at her specifically, or did she do something, or are people just mad because things are too easy?
No, because fucking nerds are weird, and fucking majority of them are, well, not majority. There's a lot of them that are super toxic and just won't shut the fuck up. I'll leave it at that.
She was pretty intimidating, actually, at least in the first episode. I haven't seen her any farther.
I thought she was great.
I mean, she hacks that old biddy's hand off. I was like, damn. I was playing D&D.
Yeah, I had
Colin.
I thought she was great. I think I feel like I was seeing more people upset about the little girl Leia casting. Not the casting, but just how she were. I don't know if it's the actress's fault, but how she was portrayed, especially like just her pushback that she would give, and kind of her remarks that she always made about things, and her running abilities and things like that.
Imagine being mad about the way a little girl runs on the internet.
It wasn't about how she ran. It was about how the evil dudes that were chasing her ran.
Flee from the Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah. Couldn't get around to anything. Just like, dude, I would immediately Goldberg tackle her if I had to. If like I was trying to capture this little girl, there's no way. Like I would get
I thought
to
you were
her.
going to say if I was a little girl, I would Goldberg tackle Flee from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is only a sentence that would exist in 2022.
No, there's plenty scenes, I believe, in part 2 where it's like I'm just frustrated because I'm thinking to myself, there's no chance this girl would get away from me within 5 seconds. There's no way. There's no way. I'd make two big lunges and it'd be over. Like there's no way she could get away.
I want to see you chase both of our kids around in the backyard. See if you can catch both. If you can catch both of them at the same time, then I will believe you. But yeah. I don't think you can.
I would immediately catch Nolan. This guy is the most. He's just so bad on his feet. He has. Oh, it's bad. I'm surprised I'll be surprised if he can actually run by next year, because at this pace, he's just like, he's trying to pick his feet up and like move quicker, but there's no way. He just falls on his face every time.
Sounds like you need to mow your grass.
Yeah, that's it too.
You slacker. My son, when the grass gets tall, he tells me to go moo. So that's
he tells you to go moo.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, I've been watching Shoresy on Hulu, which is a spin-off of a show I've recommended several times called Letterkenny. It's about these Canadian hillbillies, I guess, but this is
Hmm.
a spin-off of a specific character who we had actually never seen the face of before, uh, but was always voiced by the main character from Letterkenny. He just kind of threw his voice a little bit, but now he just took over that role and is this shit-talking idiot hockey player. And the banter in this is unmatched. The wit is ridiculous. It's through the roof, joke a minute type stuff. And some of it gets a little redundant because it is stupid and childish, but it's also
Hmm.
sometimes a little bit pointing and poking fun at itself, a little self-referential, if you will. It's really well done. Even if you haven't seen Letterkenny, this would just be a really easy watch for you. It's just dumb and a very good laugh.
Nice. Did you end up finishing that Mike Myers Netflix show?
I did, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely good enough that I recommended it to my sister, who also enjoyed it, which made me feel better. I think when I watched it, I said if you go back now and watch a Austin Powers movie and enjoy that, then you will enjoy the type of comedy that is in this. I mean, it's
Okay.
updated obviously for more timely cultural references, but it's the same
Yeah.
type of thing. Like
Got it.
Mike Myers was pushing boundaries then, and there's still you'll see a dick and balls.
Okay.
I don't know what a
Nice.
lot of dick and balls actually, but
Oh, geez. Okay. Maybe not so nice, but whatever.
yeah, Mark, nice.
Nice. Nice.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, dude. Mark, what have you been watching?
I finished Tokyo Vice finally. Kelly and I like put that one on hold 3 times, and I got to the point where I'm like, I'm on episode 7. I need to finish these last 2 episodes. And holy shit, I'm like, where's episode 9? Because the way they ended on episode 8, I'm just like, am I missing something? Is there another episode coming out next week? There isn't. They're gonna have it. I would guess a season 2 to that show. I would hope,
It was
because
a
the way it
bastard
ended,
move. I think it's a
it, wa-
shitty move.
it was a very shitty move. My problem is, and I would assume that this is your problem as well. They're building up this tension, and finally, once we get some action and, I guess like some
Resolution.
repercussions and resolution and things like that, yeah, they just end it, and it's like, okay, it leaves it on a cliffhanger, but on a cliffhanger to where you're like, I'm actually just pissed. I'm not even really wanting to see what's going to happen next now, because that just really pissed me off.
I just wanted to see more of Detective Tanaka's sexy 1970s Datsun. That car is
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, that is a nice looking car.
I did really like that show, but my complaint was that they were telling half a story, which is
Hmm.
sadly what a lot of things are now. That's every time, like, fucking Dune comes up. Well, okay, it's great that it was really visually stunning, but you told me half of a story, and it's not good enough anymore. You don't get that goodwill. I'm not going
Hmm.
to eagerly await 2 years for you to make a goddamn sequel to this to finish your story that I have already forgotten.
Yeah. Yep. You need to do it like they're doing with Ozark and Stranger Things. Like, I didn't really mind the 2 month hiatus that we had, 2 or 3 month. And Stranger Things is already better than anything on television that I've seen in the last couple months. So I will be fine no matter what.
Yeah.
It's really good though. This season they've really raised the stakes. It's a lot more adult themed, which makes sense. Like, as they get older, like, shit really starts getting fucked up. And I don't know if that's, well, I don't want to spoil it. But anyways, watch Stranger Things if you're not watching that. That's my biggest recommendation of this week.
I was getting a lot of Sam Raimi type vibes, and maybe it's just
Yeah.
because we were so close off of Doctor Strange, but some of the gore and the zoom in cameras and stuff like that really made me think of Sam Raimi. How did you make it through it already?
I am at episode 6.
Holy shit! How many did they release in the first half?
8, I
Okay,
believe.
fuck.
And the last one is an hour and 45 minutes long.
They're all like basically mini movies.
They're
So
an hour and 15 for the most part, and then like the last two, I think the second to last is like an hour 25, and then the last one's like an hour 38 or something.
yeah, I'm starting to rethink my complaint that they were releasing this in parts, because that is a hell of a lot more content than what I was expecting to get out of the
It's a
final
lot.
season for this.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if it's any good. I've only watched the first episode. I love the introduction. We already saw this in the trailers and everything, but Vecna is sufficiently terrifying and gross, and very excited to see what comes in the next, I don't know, 15 hours of content. Jesus. All right. Mark, let's get on to our review.
Let's do it.
I wish we could get the rights to Danger Zone. I mean, there's no way that we ever could.
To the danger zone, man, ain't no pain, ain't no highway to the danger zone.
Anyways,
There you go.
yes. Mark, this is 97 and 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. What the fuck is going on here?
Dude, yes. Yes.
I
Did
am
you see Miles Teller? Did you see that guy?
How could you miss
cool-
him?
How much he was cooling? How cool that dude was?
He is so unlikable.
You hate him so much because he's so fucking cool in this movie with that mustache.
He's
and how
really
tan
hard
he
to
is.
root
And
for.
he can play. He can play piano. He flies a fucking jet. He's the man. He's the man.
He's a notorious douchebag, but whatever. Anyways, this is obviously the resuscitation of a 40-year-old story. What is this, 36 years later? Something like that.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is ancient, but he's still somehow the best fighter pilot on the planet.
Okay, hold on. I was doing a little bit of research on because sorry to cut you off, by the way. At the beginning of this movie, what I love though is like Tom Cruise just in front of a black screen, just talking to the audience before this movie starts in the preview, and he's just basically telling you how fucking awesome this is, how they barely used any special effects, how he's just an insane fucking dude that does all of his own stunts. He's just basically patting himself on the back. But anyways, I just love the way that started, where he was ultimately telling the audience like, hey, I'm fucking insane, and a lot of this shit I did.
You know what's funny about that is I've seen a lot of people talking about it on the internet. Like, hey, did you get this before your movie? Nobody's complaining about it. That's something that that is universally complained about is previews before movies and stuff. What is Tom Cruise right about something that we don't know about? Like, what is it that makes him so fucking charismatic?
He's like, I want to dislike him, but I don't. Like,
He's the
when it
most
comes down to it-
magnetic human on the face of the earth, and I don't understand why. Everything about him should make me dislike him. He's the opposite of Miles Teller. I don't understand.
You just really don't. Can you give us some background? Why do you really hate Miles Teller? Because you saw some People magazine article that said he was an asshole,
Not
a fan or
really.
something.
And frankly, I don't like, a lot of actors are assholes. I wouldn't single him out as like an extraordinary asshole compared to the rest of actors. I don't really care. Something about his face makes him seem unlikable to me, and that is truly as far as I can describe it.
Okay.
And I'm not I say this as a person with a very punchable face, so I get it.
Okay. I fucking loved him in this movie. We'll get to that.
You would.
So, real quick, your remark about his age, it's funny you mentioned that, because today I was just sitting on my couch and I'm like, I want to see if there's like fun facts about Top Gun 2. And there's an article in Plane and Pilot magazine. So I would assume a pretty, like, if you're going to pull facts from anywhere, it's better to pull it from there than Screen Rant. But they actually got into, they talked about his age, and he said, actually, that his age isn't really that old for what we've seen from pilots. He was 56 in this movie when the movie was filmed, and the answer is pretty much yes, a naval pilot, because the question was, is he too old to be a pilot? Or is he not too old to be a pilot? The answer is yes, a naval fighter pilot, retired back in 2015 at the age of 56, and internationally, the historical record to record successful pilots usually retired around the age of 60. So I guess he wasn't that old in comparison to like what happens in the Navy, I guess.
Okay, whatever. I mean, everybody else who is a top pilot alive is drastically younger than Tom Cruise in this movie. We agree on that, though, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Even John Hamm is like, okay, I hung it up. By the way, he was perfect for that role.
Oh, yeah.
Just as like the I've got to stick up my ass military guy. John Hamm and his square jaw. Yeah, absolutely perfect for that. But let's back up a little bit. So this is a Bruckheimer movie, obviously, and this was originally supposed to be directed by Tony Scott, who unfortunately took his own life back in 2012. So this was put on hold for a while in development hell, and then obviously COVID, yada, yada, yada. But this, I think, has to be the movie that was in development hell for the longest. Consider, I can't think of a sequel or even any sort of sequel that would span this sort of time frame and even come close to making any fucking sense. And I would argue that this one really toes that line.
Was Val Kilmer was alive for this movie when it was shot in that scene?
Yeah, he is still alive, isn't he? Anyways,
I thought he died. Thought he died. That would be bad if he didn't.
Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay.
He is not in great shape, and he looks not well. I hope that he's doing better, but yeah, they did a lot here, and I think there might have been some CGI involved. There's a reason they didn't really let him talk too much, but you know, he played a very good emotional part.
They regenerated his voice for that scene, I read.
Okay.
The reason I thought he passed away is actually because Hulu released that documentary on him. And I don't know why, but when someone gets I'm thinking back to like the Heath Ledger documentary. When there's a documentary that's released like that, usually the person passes away. So I just assumed he passed away, but he didn't, I guess.
Fair enough. Yeah, but he's still alive, and he played a pretty important part in this, which is kind of weird. I have a lot of problems with this, and at the same time, I fucking loved this movie. It's so dumb, but so good. And I think we just like watching planes. That's the only thing I can take away from this, because there is no other factor. I didn't give a shit about Jennifer Connelly, you know, as great as she looks 36 years later.
She looks so good, by the way.
Unreal, dude.
She looks so good.
Holy shit. But anyways, yeah, I didn't give a shit about anything else. I just wanted to see the jets go real fast. That's really it.
So some things about the budget that are kind of interesting. It was $15 million to make the original 36 years ago. It was $150 million to make one today, Top Gun 2.
I feel like that's low.
That's not as much. As Tom Cruise mentioned, there's not a lot of special effects in this. But when we're talking about practical effects, the F-18 jets were $11,000 to rent out per hour.
Good Lord.
$75 million a pop for the, let's say, F-18 goes for more than $75 million a pop. The same price of, they're just stating the price there. Tom Cruise was flying several of his own planes, but they actually didn't let him fly the F-18.
I did read
supposedly.
That's probably smart, because somehow he would end up nuking China.
How pissed would he have been? How pissed do you think he was, though?
Oh my God, livid. Oh my God. Yeah. He probably got so many pilots fired just for doing stuff that obviously they can't fucking let Tom Cruise do. Where do we stand on my ongoing theory that Tom Cruise is just trying to kill himself via movie production to get out of Scientology?
That's an interesting theory you have there.
Every movie and every movie trailer I see leads me to think that more and more. And I haven't heard anybody try to prove me wrong yet, so I'm kind of thinking he just wants out.
Yeah. I mean, he does everything. He does everything in this movie. There's a scene where he jumps out of a window to sneak out of this person's house, and you could tell it's him. Like, Tom, just use your stunt double. But no, he's got to be the one. Yeah, he's got to be the one to hang out of this house and fall down to the ground.
Yeah, you're not fucking Jackie Chan, dude. Come on, relax.
Hold on. This fun fact says that Cruise landed his own helicopter on the deck of the USS Midway in San Diego for the movie's premiere. So I'm assuming
helicopter for this movie.
I'm assuming when he just threw his hissy fit about not flying the F-18s, they're like, Tom, relax, okay? We're going to let you fly helicopter.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, we'll let you fly the helicopter into the premiere, Tom. He's like, fine. Still pissed, though.
What do you think it'd be like to hang out with Tom Cruise? Like, legitimately, do you think
probably
he could?
Fucking awesome.
Do you think that, like, say you won like a charity auction, and the benefit was you get to go to like a box suite at a baseball game, and it's just you and Tom Cruise? What do you talk to Tom Cruise about?
How fast he can run. What's the biggest thing he's ever hurdled over? Has he ever really truly put a lot of time into practicing parkour? Is he I don't know, I could go on. I could think of things on the fly, though.
It sounds like
usually revolving around his agility and his dexterity.
I don't even know what I would say to the man. Like, do you think he watches base? Like, when do you think the last time Tom Cruise just sat down and watched a game of baseball was? He's one of those dudes who wakes up at 4:30 every day and eats nothing but fucking grass clippings and shit.
He doesn't even have doors on his car, just windows, and he jumps through the windows to get into his car. Like a full-fledged parkour jump into like the torpedo type jumps where he goes in feet first, not head first.
Only Tom Cruise would have to work it into his contract. Like, this is a movie about fighter pilots and dogfighting. People have to see me sprint full out in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
We have to find a way. And God damn it, he got it.
Yeah.
So joke's on me, I guess.
If not sprinting, he got to just fucking zoom on his motorcycle. He's probably going about 90, 95.
That seems like the
Maxing
most fun thing in the world is just to have an open runway and a motorcycle. Yeah. That sounds incredible. But he also, nobody rides their motorcycle the way that he rides his motorcycle. He acts like he's racing in Daytona.
He's always got to do
hunched over.
He hunched over. His shoulders are pulled up to his ears.
The most uncomfortable thing ever. Yeah.
He's got to do the look back over his right shoulder and like smile.
I got to go fast. How many times would he have been court-martialed or just outright like shot or killed for treason?
Probably a lot.
How many billions of dollars has he wasted in taxpayer money on that stupid fucking dick measuring contest just so he could go Mach 10.3, you piece of shit? That could have been like 8 schools in the inner city. Dude. You son of a bitch.
I was in theater and I was with my cousin, and we were just the beginning of the movie. You have to joke around a little bit because it starts off with highway with danger zone, of course. Like you have to predict that one right off the bat.
If you take this movie seriously, do not listen to this podcast. We are not for you because you need to be able to realize that this is a ridiculous fucking movie, but at the same time, it can be really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And when he's going Mach 10.2 or whatever, I was waiting for that one army sergeant colonel whatever that was in the fucking the launch room or whatever you want to call it. I was waiting for him to just look at somebody and be like, he's the fastest man alive, and then it pans back to Tom Cruise and he's just fucking doing it.
But they did so much of that, dude. How much of this movie is Like, oh, we gotta bring Pete back in. Also, before I get into this diatribe, I needed to go on another diatribe. If you want to disrespect the man, stop calling him Maverick and call him Pete. Because it's really hard to be like, you're a real piece of shit, Maverick. That's like,
yeah,
yeah,
but I'm a boss.
You're the dumbest person ever, you handsome son of a bitch, Maverick. You can't be mad at that. Like, if you want to talk down to him, call him Petey. Anyways, how many times in this movie?
Call him something else.
Yeah, don't call him Maverick though. What would think about what your call sign would be? I got to think about that too. How many times in this movie is Tom Cruise like, they say you're grounded, you're done? Even like, if he truly is the best fucking pilot in the Navy, why are we having this argument still? Like, did he piss that many people off by doing literally nothing? Because it sounds like he did no advancement in his career, and there's literally nothing waiting for him after this. So what's everybody so upset about?
It's the fact that face to face he'll take orders, but once he leaves that room of one of his higher ups, he doesn't care. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants. And in one of the scenes, he was told he's done. And then he decides to just fucking steal a jet and prove to everyone that he can do the fucking trial timed race faster than anyone.
But doesn't that just make everybody else look like absolute dog shit because they couldn't do it in like 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Also, fucking John Hamm was just completely willing to send everybody off to their death.
How scared would you be to just be in a room with John Hamm as an actual actor? And like the thought that you can't hit your lines and he's just fucking knocking it out of the park and just giving that look like, hey, wow, what the fuck are you doing?
You're not giving me much credit. You don't think I could knock my lines out of the park?
Not when John Hamm is just staring at you like, don't fuck this up. You're just like, God, you're so
I would have to
looking.
look down at John Hamm.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have to really look down at Tom Cruise.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really think he's very intimidating.
Would you just belly bump him in the face?
No, I would belly bump him right in his middle tooth. His middle tooth would land right in my belly button. It'd be a really nice interaction.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about Miles Teller.
Why? Why are you so obsessed with him? Is it because he played that stupid ass dog-fighting football game?
No, not because of that. I mean, he has an important backstory. We didn't even mention, I don't think you mentioned that he's Goose's son. And if you watch the first one, you know what tragically happens to Goose. So you have that impact with him and Maverick's relationship. So I think that's just important to note. But he's also the coolest fucking guy of all time. Like, he comes in there and he knows. He's like, Tom Cruise or Maverick. Maverick knows who I am, but I'm just going to pretend like I don't care. Like, I'm not even going to give him the time of day. And he
wasn't a good enough pilot, though, to be
just so mad.
That arrogant. None of them were any good except for Tom Cruise. And that's what the only real problem that I have with these is it takes me out every time is that, like, he's the god of everything. No one is ever, his only flaw is that he's too good. It's so hard to believe. Yeah, I was really happy when Jennifer Connelly took him down a peg like 7 times.
Yeah, she was great in this. And in comparison to his prior love interest from the first one, I looked up a picture, and I want to be nice here, but I can kind of understand why they didn't recast her. But anyways, so I guess I guess what I'm trying to say here is I was a little confused at, like, who is this girl? Like, are they going to try to make her be whoever that that instructor or whoever that girl was in the first one that he was having his relationship with? But no, she is the daughter of who was that? Like the colonel or the general or something. And they make mention of her in the first Top Gun, but you never see her.
Wow. What a great story. Why would they even, like, leave those breadcrumbs in there? Who gives a shit?
Well, they have to kind of piece it a little bit together. They can't just like randomly bring this person in and be like,
You could just be like, hey, I bought this bar.
yeah, she's just here now. Yeah.
Hey, I bought
don't
this,
know.
this bar. Here's my daughter, who will only be used as like comedic bait later on in the movie and for nothing else. And that's it.
Yeah. But I also appreciated the way they did it because you didn't need all this background on her. Like because they were using this character, which we didn't even get to see in the first one, but they've made mention of her. Since they were using her, we didn't really have to get like a whole background as to how she knows how she knows Maverick. We just, okay, she's here. She owns this bar. She is the daughter of the general or whatever. Great. And they obviously have some type of thing going on. And just got right to the point and just allowed us to get right to the goodness of Miles Teller just fucking on the beach playing some pickup football with the boys and the one female. How many were there? There was one girl in this, right?
I think there was only one female pilot, but and of course there had to be the one guy that was like, this is a man's job. Like it's so disingenuous when you force that out there now, and I don't know, it just feels so stupid. But anyways, the one I didn't get is how there was a guy wearing glasses flying an F-18, and I was just super confused by that. If they're pulling like 8Gs, wouldn't that just like smash the glasses into your eyes? Didn't you always hear as a kid that pilots had to have like perfect vision?
No, but I guess it would make sense. I don't know. I just didn't think that far into it. I was just kind of hypnotized by all the sweet jet flipperoos and the twisty roonies and all that. Dude, that one scene where Maverick just like, he's like, and he just splits the two planes. I was like, yes, we're doing it.
They did like 4 times.
Yeah, it was great though. Every time it was like, dude, the sound effects were fucking amazing.
I mean, this is a movie that was definitely made to be as loud as fucking possible.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel like they didn't even want to give whatever country they were beefing with a name? They're just like, go blow up this plant.
It was Russia. Come on.
I don't like. I wonder if this is one of those things where if they air it in China, the villain is Russian. If they air it in Russia, the villain is China. Doesn't matter. Anyways,
they're not going to get to air it in Russia. But anyways, yeah, they're the first one didn't do that either. I don't believe they mentioned the country that the antagonist was from.
I'm still blown away.
They just kind of showed up, and you knew that they were the badass.
I'm blown away that you still like. Why is this the first time you had seen the original?
Yeah, that's bothering you, isn't it? I don't know, dude. I just don't know.
I normally try not to do that. I know it always comes out. It's always the worst in us that comes out. But this is such a dude bro movie that I find it so hard to believe that you had never seen it before this.
Mm-hmm. There was just other movies that I was watching growing up, like Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone, all the Rocky movies. This just wasn't this. What, Cliffhanger?
Cliffhanger is terrible. I'd rather watch Over the Top.
It's so good. It's so good. Commando with Arnold.
I would definitely watch Commando over all of those movies.
I've seen a lot of bro movies. This just wasn't one of them. And honestly, I wasn't that big into like planes either. It wasn't really my thing. I don't know why. I was more into like the Rocky stuff, the boxing and the competitive, one-on-one sports and those kind of things that were happening in movies.
Different kind of propaganda. The one where like, yeah, you're fighting one-on-one instead of, you definitely strike me more as when I'm growing up, I want to be a fighter pilot type of guy though.
No.
Well,
I wanted to be a marine biologist.
No.
So I love Jaws. Way. Dude, I did. I love the ocean. I love sharks.
So at what point did you realize that wasn't going to happen?
I'm still trying to do it today, man. It's still going to happen. No,
do you even have fish? I
had a fish. Died in 3 days. No, No, I gave that dream up probably when I decided that I wanted to be a pro skateboarder when Tony Hawk came out on N64.
All right, then. Asked and
So I
answered.
was like 9. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Top Gun? Let's rate it. Obviously, I think we're both just going to say see it. This feels like a movie that it's worth going to the movie theater for.
This is absolutely worth going to the movie for. The movie theater for. It was hard for me to say to myself at first, but now that I keep thinking about it, I had the most fun at this movie, more fun than I did with Spider-Man No Way Home. And there's just a lot of good shit that happens throughout this movie. You have a solid cast other than the guy that Smithers hates, Miles Teller. I didn't have a problem with him. But like John Hamm in this was unexpected. I didn't even know he was in that, so that was a pleasant surprise.
So
Jennifer Connelly looks fantastic, and she does a great job bringing Maverick down a couple pegs throughout this. Tom Cruise doing all of his own shit as usual, and you could tell they didn't like bash you over the head with special effects. This was all practical, and there was a good soundtrack throughout. And it made
just
reference
recycling of the original soundtrack.
Yeah, there were some other tunes. I can't think of the one they played in the bar, but there were other songs. But of course, they played Danger Zone in the first scene, which is understandable. References to the first one. We get Val Kilmer in this, which is great to see. A nice nod there. And I would just say, see this in theaters. I think it is one of those movies. If you're going out for a date or whatever, I could easily see Kelly loving this movie. It's fast paced enough where you're interested throughout, in my opinion. And the last 30 minutes of this movie are some of the best scenes that I've seen in the last 2 years in theaters. I thought the last 30 minutes, Smithers, were fucking captivating and fucking tense as hell. Like I was gripping my seat because it was so fast-paced. I loved it.
I almost feel as though, I would say it was the last 45 minutes. I almost feel as though the climax of this movie was too long because it starts with Tom Cruise going on that insane run. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And I feel like from then on out, it's like, okay, here's the climax. And it's going to be exhausting because it's about to be almost an hour long. But the movie wasn't too long. So they did a good job of cramming everything in there. It is... propaganda, whatever, it's fine. Just try not to think about it, shut your brain off, and enjoy a fucking fighter jet movie.
Yeah, and so without spoiling it, but maybe this will, without technically saying it
just say
verbatim. It. I thought he was going to die in this, and he doesn't.
There was no way.
That's funny. Yes, I know, because I like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like maybe this is the way they end it. But then I'm also thinking, like, it's fucking Tom Cruise. He would have read that script and be like, I'm not fucking dying. I'm coming back. Like, there's no way I'm going to fail or I'm going to have to sacrifice. He wouldn't even sacrifice himself in a movie. Tom Cruise would be like, no, I'm never going to sacrifice myself in a movie. Like, he is going to be there at the end of every film he does because he's the coolest fucking guy of all time.
No question.
But just be prepared for this. This is your typical Tom Cruise movie. But you should know that going into Top Gun 2.
If someone can possibly explain to me what it is about Tom Cruise that makes him so charismatic, I would love to hear it. But you can relay that to us a lot of ways. You can call or text us at 847-920-6107. You can find us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. And you can email us at thechumpcast@gmail.com. Get your tickets now for Fan Expo Chicago, coming the weekend of July 8th, 9th, and 10th in Rosemont, Illinois. We will be doing our 300th episode there. Thank you so much for everybody for listening to make that possible in the first place, because that's a fucking insane thing to say out loud. But, Mark, anything else before we wrap up?
If we can't see you at Rosemont, I'm pretty certain that we're going to be, well, I'll be at C2E2. Smithers, I think you'll be able to probably attend a day as well, but that's August 5th through the 7th. So hoping to see you guys there also.
All right. Well, until next time then.
Jumps out, motherfucker.